The Knicks have been bitten hard by the injury bug, already losing OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, and Julius Randle all to injury. And now we have to add another player to that list in Jalen Brunson, who is currently dealing with a knee contusion. The Knicks are scrambling right now, trying to fill the void that Jalen Brunson is leaving, along with the other key players that are out for the New York Knicks. And even though this is going to hurt the Knicks, it also presents a massive opportunity for one Knick player in particular, Miles McBride, who I argue, if he does what he needs to do while Jalen Brunson is out, will make the case for minutes once the Knicks are fully healthy. We're going to break down this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Miles McBride has a massive opportunity on his hands in the wake of all of these injuries. Now, it's never good to deal with injuries for your current team. You never want to have to deal with that, especially to your star players in Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. And while that's never a good thing, it does always create a little bit of an opportunity. Like we saw against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Miles McBride, as soon as Jalen Brunson went down, basically played the entire game. And he responded, having a great showing, breaking ankles in the process. And not only did myself and other Knick fans notice his impact, Josh Hart also noticed it too. He stated the following: he was running around with Darius Garland. And if Garland wasn't in the game, he was running around with Max Strus and Sam Merrill. So that speaks volumes to his conditioning and his competitiveness and his tenacity. At the end of the day, once you're in it, that competitive nature really kind of just takes over. He had that. For him to play 47 minutes straight, it's absurd. Absurd. Let's not forget that a few games ago, he was playing maybe 13 minutes, maybe 14 minutes a game. And ever since that trade with Detroit that sent Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks to this team, his minutes has taken a nosedive. He hasn't been playing as consistently, and he hasn't been playing as high as he was before that trade happened. And you can tell when he was in the game and he was playing limited minutes, he wasn't having the same impact. Now, you fast forward to what happened during the Cleveland Cavaliers game, and you saw that Miles McBride and how he responded after playing 47 straight minutes, after only playing 11 minutes a couple of games ago. Like Josh Hart stated, not only does it speak to his conditioning, but also to his competitive nature, that he wants to be out there for the Knicks. He wants to help the team win, and he'll do whatever it takes on both ends of the floor to make sure this Knicks team has a shot to win each and every game possible. And that's exactly what he did when he helped the Knicks take that victory against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And he noticed that too. And he spoke about how it felt about playing all of those minutes. And he responded in the best way possible. According to McBride, he stated after playing all of those minutes, "I feel fine, honestly. That's what I put in the offseason work for. I prepare my body for this. You never know what's going to happen. Brunson should be fine, hopefully, but you got to be ready for anything." I don't know about you guys, but when I hear young players on this Knicks team talk like that, say, "I'm putting in the work, I'm staying ready, I'm staying active," that just gets me hyped. It makes me feel a different way about this Knicks team. That next man up mentality is not only a mentality type of thing, it's a physicality type of thing as well too. Do you see how hard McBride plays out there when he gets those minutes, and how strong he is as well too? He is not only conditioned, but he is very, very strong for his size. He looks undersized for sure, but the way he plays defense, takes contact, and makes sure he makes it hard on every single player that he defends, that is a skill set that not many players in the NBA have, let alone young players in this league. Miles McBride has that and then some. That's why even though Jalen Brunson has gone down, and don't get me wrong, I am very concerned about it, and I am still waiting on pins and needles, just like you guys, waiting for an update, an official update from the New York Knicks medical staff about Jalen Brunson and how early he can return to this roster. However, I also understand that in his absence, other players are going to have to step up. Dante is going to have to step up. He has. Josh Hart is going to have to step up. He has. Miles McBride is going to have to step up, and he's doing that. And if he continues to do that, once the Knicks are fully healthy, Tom Thibodeau might make the choice of going with Miles McBride over Alec Burks and even over the recently added Shake Milton when it comes to the playoffs or when it comes to the Knicks being fully healthy and having a consistent rotation spot. Because if you're just looking at the players who have had an impact after all of these injuries, it's hard not to look at Miles McBride and see what he's done. He has responded in the biggest and best way you could imagine for a young player. And after losing Emmanuel quickly and creating a scoring void on the bench, Miles McBride answered the call. He stepped up and he did exactly what he needed to do. I didn't expect him to score like that. Obviously, we all knew he could score like that, but nobody thought we were going to see it consistently off the bench for this Knicks team because we never saw it before. But now that we're seeing it, we're all loving it. We're buying into it. I know I am. And I want to see McBride get consistent minutes because Tom Thibodeau should reward the players that are actually having an impact when they're out there. Alec Burks, is he having an impact since he's been traded to this Knicks team when he's out there on the floor for this team? In my opinion, not as much as Miles McBride has. And I don't know how Shake Milton's going to do. I have to wait and see how he plays. But if he doesn't do as good, then I'm going to make my case even more that Miles McBride needs to get consistent minutes because he's responding. That's what you need to see. Maybe if you give somebody a large role, a consistent role with a lot of minutes, and he doesn't do what he needs to do, should you continue to give that man consistent minutes? Alec Burks? Or if somebody, when you give them limited minutes and then they perform, and then you give them major minutes, and not only do they perform, they're one of the main reasons that you are winning games, you have to acknowledge that. You have to credit that hard work, and you have to show that that hard work is not only exactly what you want to see as a coach, but you're going to reward that with consistent playing time. Because if you do that, you're going to send a statement to the entire locker room, even to the G League, that if you play consistently and you do what you need to do for the roster and you play your role to perfection, you will carve out minutes for yourself. Miles McBride is a shining example of that. Dante DiVincenzo, to an extent, is a shining example of that. Those two had limited minutes when they started the season, but because of how good they were playing, because you could not ignore their impact, and because of how much they helped this Knicks team when they were out there, they were rewarded not only with consistent playing time, but they also started making even more of an impact because they knew the coach believed in them and had their back. And sometimes that just makes you play a little bit differently when you know the coach has your back regardless of what you do or how you play. Now, I'm not going to say you're not going to get chewed out. You might get chewed out still, but it's not going to mean that Tom Thibodeau and his faith is going to waver in you. And I think that's huge for players who are just stepping into these roles. They're not starters, they're role players, but they're needed in order for the Knicks to stay afloat. Tom Thibodeau is making sure this Knicks team is grinding out wins each and every night with the players they have available. Other coaches, maybe they wouldn't be able to get the job done. But Tom Thibodeau and the mentality that he's instilled into this Knicks roster, it's just something to behold and something that we have to credit because there's no way a Knicks team that is missing basically 4 starters is beating teams in the East that have a legitimate chance to potentially have a deep run in the playoffs, like the Cleveland Cavaliers. There's no way you win games like that if you don't have players step up and buy into what's happening in your team. And that's exactly what we're seeing from the role players right now. Precious Achiuwa, he's bought in, he's doing his thing. Dante DiVincenzo, he's bought in, he's doing his thing. Miles McBride, he's bought in, he's doing his thing. Reward these guys because they deserve it based off of their play and their performance. You know who doesn't deserve it at this point in time? Alec Burks. And until he can earn that time and steal it away from Miles McBride, he should be riding that bench and he should be Tom Thibodeau, quote unquote, situational. And unless there's a situation that calls for it, let him continue to ride the bench because I've seen enough of him and I've seen enough of Miles McBride to at least make a basketball judgment and a statement clearly. And I believe this with my entire heart. Miles McBride deserves these minutes over Alec Burks every day, all day, without a doubt, no changing my mind. It is what it is. And because of that, reward that man. Right now is a major opportunity for Miles McBride to step up, step in, make an impact just like he did in the Cleveland game, but do it consistently. If he does that, we're not going to be talking about Burks. We're going to be talking about what we should have been talking about for a while now. McBride. Breaking out McBride, which is happening this season. And I can't wait to see this kid continue to respond and play heavy minutes for Tom Thibodeau. Because you got to figure, even if Jalen's going to be okay, he's likely going to miss some games. And during those games, McBride now has a massive opportunity to shine. But what about you guys? What do you think about the New York Knicks and potentially Miles McBride being able to cash in on this opportunity and make the most of it? Do you think he's going to be able to do that? And do you want him to do that? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.